Have you ever been through something really tough? Have you ever felt like giving up? Well, today we meet a woman who suffered for 12 years, and it wasn't until she got right up close and personal with Jesus that things began to change for her. Let's go to Matthew chapter 9, verses 20 to 22. This is the woman we're talking about here. She had a bleeding issue for 12 years. She spent all her money on doctors, but nobody could heal her. In fact, the more she tried to get better, the worse she became. And so this woman was ceremonially unclean according to the law of Moses. That meant that she couldn't participate in any social activities. She couldn't go to work. She couldn't do anything. She was literally by herself. And then one day, she heard about Jesus. Now, she didn't know much about Jesus, but what she did hear was that he had power to heal people. She believed even if she just touched the fringe of his garment, that would be enough to heal her. So this woman must have heard about Jesus doing these amazing miracles, even raising people from the dead. But this woman wasn't looking for a major miracle. She just wanted to stop bleeding. Well, one day Jesus was teaching, and there were crowds and crowds of people pressing in on him. I mean, sometimes people have to shove their way just to get close enough to touch his clothes, and that's exactly what this woman was going to try to do. But after being sick for 12 years, she was very weak. But she thought, I don't care how hard it is. I'm going to press through this crowd and I'm going to touch Jesus. So she started pushing her way toward him. As she pushed her way through the crowd, she thought, what if somebody touches me? I mean, I'm unclean. If somebody touches me, they will become unclean. But her desire to get to Jesus was greater than her fear of what might happen if someone touched her. As she's pushing her way through the crowd, suddenly she says, here's my chance. She reaches out and touches the hem of his garment, and she doesn't just touch it, she touches it in faith. And the moment she touches it, her bleeding stops. She didn't even need to get close to Jesus. All she needed to do was touch the fringe of his garment, and the moment she did, she felt instantly healed. Now, the Bible says in Luke's gospel that while she was touching Jesus, power came out of him and healed her. But here's what happens next. It says that Jesus stopped and said, "Who touched me?" And this is amazing because everybody was pressing in on him. People were trying to touch him, trying to get close to him, trying to get his attention. But he didn't say, "Who was in the crowd? Who was pressing in on me?" He said, "Who touched me?" Why? Because he knew power had gone out of him. He knew that he was connected to this woman. It says that when Jesus asked the question, "Who touched me?" the woman was trembling. Now, I can only imagine that she was trembling for two reasons. Number one, she was probably afraid Jesus was going to get mad at her because she broke the law of Moses by touching him. But number two, I think she was trembling because she realized she was actually healed. So she came and fell down before Jesus and told him everything. She told him how she had a bleeding issue for 12 years. She told him how she spent all her money on doctors, how nobody could help her. And then she told him how she had heard about Jesus, how he was the one who could heal her. And so she said, I pressed through the crowd and I touched you. And the moment I did, I felt better. And then, this woman probably thought Jesus was going to chase her out, tell her to get away from him. But instead, Jesus did something amazing. He said, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction." Isn't that amazing? I love the fact that Jesus called her daughter. I think that shows how much he cared about her. It shows that he was compassionate towards her. It shows that he understood what she went through. Now, the crowd that was pressing in on Jesus was probably wondering why he was talking to this woman, why he was talking to a woman who was considered unclean. But the woman's faith was rewarded. And let's notice that faith always acts. You see, this woman wasn't satisfied hearing about Jesus. She wasn't satisfied just being near Jesus. She wasn't satisfied having faith in Jesus. No, her faith caused her to take action. And here's the other thing I want us to notice. Jesus didn't respond to proximity. He responded to personal believing contact. There were a lot of people around Jesus that day who had probably never placed their faith in him, who probably didn't even believe he was the Messiah, who probably didn't even believe that he had any power to heal. But Jesus didn't respond to their proximity. Jesus responded to this woman's personal believing contact. You know, so many times we want God to bless us where we are, but we're not willing to go the extra mile. We're not willing to make that big sacrifice, not willing to leave our sin behind, not willing to break our bad habits. But if you want God to respond, if you want God to act, you can't just stay where you are. You can't just stay in your comfort zone. Sometimes God calls us to take action. Sometimes God calls us to move, to leave where we are and to follow him. And that's exactly what this woman did. She left her house. She left her problems. She left everything behind and she followed Jesus. And the moment she did, she experienced a miracle. But another thing I want us to notice is that this woman didn't know what the problem was. She didn't know why she was bleeding. She didn't know why she had this issue. But that didn't stop her from seeking Jesus. I think sometimes we can focus so much on the problem that we don't take time to seek God. Or sometimes we may know the problem, but we don't know the solution. And so we don't seek God. But this woman didn't let that stop her. She didn't let the fact that she didn't know what the problem was keep her from seeking Jesus. You know, one of the most wonderful things about our God is that he doesn't call us because we're strong or smart or talented or beautiful. No, God calls us because he wants to save us. He wants to transform us. He wants to heal us. And that's exactly what he did for this woman. And then lastly, I want us to notice that this woman was considered unclean, ceremonially unclean. And I'm sure that that affected her self-image. I'm sure it made her feel like she wasn't good enough, that she wasn't beautiful enough, that she wasn't worthy enough. But that didn't stop her from seeking Jesus. And it shouldn't stop us either. You see, we may feel like we've been through too much, hurt too much, sinned too much, or maybe we just don't feel worthy. But the truth is, that's exactly who Jesus came for. The outcasts, the hurting, the lost, and the broken. Nobody was too unclean for Jesus. Nobody was too far gone for Jesus. Nobody was beyond the saving power of Jesus. So friend, whatever you're going through today, whatever you're facing, whatever you're struggling with, don't stay where you are. Don't stay in your comfort zone. Don't just hope God will somehow magically make your problems go away. Seek God. Come close to him. Draw near to him. Believe in him and trust him. And the moment you do, you will experience his power. Well, I hope you enjoyed this story, and I hope you learned something. If you'd like to learn more about Jesus and the amazing things he did while he was here on earth, be sure to check out the rest of the New Testament. Until next time, thanks so much for watching.